Hello and welcome to this last session in the Knowledge Hub on how to sell through live streaming. Leading this panel discussion is Madison Schill from live shopping startup Livescale, founded in 2016 in Montreal, Canada. Livescale is positioned as the Western world's leading live shopping solution. Madison is joined by Samantha Daude, Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer at L'Oréal Canada. And we also have with us Kyla Marsh, who is the Consumer Brand Manager at Dermalogica Canada, where she oversees all direct-to-consumer initiatives. And lastly, we have here Bill Baker, who is founder and president of natural skincare brand Consonant Skin & Care. Thank you all for being with us here today. And Madison, I will leave the floor to you to give an overview of the growth of live streaming and of some of the trends that you're seeing in that area, just before the panelists share their experiences with the live streaming.
Awesome, great. Thanks so much, Uneg. I'm going to share my screen now as well, so you can all see. I'll just make sure that everything is working. Technology is still very much a new thing to me, even a year and a half into this, but really, really great to have all of you here. And my objective today is to really kind of set the grounding framework for all of the amazing panelists to then kind of explain how they've innovated and gone further with the realm of live shopping. So one thing that we're seeing just on a global perspective from the beauty consumer space is that consumers are really kind of asking for more in this new and permanent shift to, more convenience, more contact, but in a virtual and, multifaceted way. So we know that brick and mortar now is sort of not becoming and not continuing to be that single place where people interact with the brand, but almost more of a museum for products in a way where you can kind of showcase, as in a commercial-like sense, that clubhouse for your brand. We know that e-commerce is booming. It's becoming that convenience store, the 24-hour convenience store for products. But a new guard of influencer is sort of setting the aspirations there. Internally here at Livescale, we call them the key opinion seller. And it's a really interesting topic, but we can really get into that in the few next slides as well. So what we're looking at is more of a phygital economy where physical and digital spaces are connected. We know that with traditional social media advertisements, it's a little bit in one pillar. And so what we're seeing from brands is a really holistic need and a way to be able to connect with their customer on a multifaceted level where they still feel like they're part of the experience no matter where they are. So what we're doing here at Livescale and in the live shopping world in general is sort of meeting brands where they are and providing a seamless solution that kind of combines all of the things that they're currently trying to do in one seamless integrated solution. And that is live stream video. It's becoming incredibly essential now for many beauty brands to have. Also, a seamless and beautiful e-commerce experience. So that integrated checkout is what live shopping is known for. And also brand ownership. With marketplaces, that the adoption of that for brands has been essential, but a lot of beauty brands now are really seeing the value in owning their own community and cultivating the insights and data that can come from that as well. So what we know when we look at live video is it's an incredibly powerful sales tool, but also a powerful tool for building community. We know that brands that engage in live video will have a 92% repeat viewership. So if someone tunes into a live shopping event a week from now, they're more likely to tune in again and again and again, which is amazing for relationship building. We also know that in China, which is a very, very key pillar of that live shopping growth curve, 62% of China's population engage with live shopping and live video on a weekly basis. And also 80% of consumers that are shopping online have asked personalized, engaged, relevant experiences be more available for them. That is the key reason to purchase and what will really get brands a lot of really great consumer buzz. So of course, though live shopping has become something that we may have heard a lot about over the past year and a half here in the West, it's a massive trend that has kind of been percolating behind the scenes for many, many years. Of course, in China, this is a trend and something that came to be because of the SARS pandemic many years ago, and now is a huge cultural pillar in the e-commerce space. In 2019, live shopping accounted for 9% of all of China's e-commerce revenue, and that moved to 11.6% in 2020. So it's a huge number when you consider the amount of e-commerce revenue coming from China. And, here in the West as well, especially in the US and Canada, we have a lot of that see now, buy now know-how when it comes to QVC, the shopping channel, the home shopping network. All of those tools have sort of put into our minds and our psychology that see now, buy now, that infomercial mythology, and that is really paving the way for success with live shopping. Also, in Europe, we're seeing really rapid adoption in the past year as well. There's been over 20 European brands onboarded with Livescale just this year. Also, we powered the very first live shopping shows in Italy, France, Spain, and the UK over the past 5 months. And so really the sky is the limit, and beauty is the category that is really leading the charge in this adoption as well. In the US, we've seen 99% year-over growth with live shopping amongst brands. So there's a lot of really cool things to be excited about. Some average statistics with live shopping as well are very powerful when you look to what that could be compared to with an e-commerce channel. So we're seeing up to 28% sales conversion rates. Again, this is with beauty brands, so lots of potential here. A 35% drop in product returns and a 40% new customer acquisition. This is very, very strong average data, and it's really, really promising to see how well beauty is playing in this category. The big secret here, what we're noticing is the real catalyst to those kinds of KPIs, especially in China and then as we move into the Western world, is integrated checkout. We're really distinguishing now as we kind of get more familiar with the phenomenon of live shopping, live streaming, all of this, the difference between live shopping and live commerce. Live commerce is more of live streaming while you shop, where they're kind of two isolated experiences still, maybe a video over a website, things like that. But live shopping is a fully immersive experience where you can actually have your customer buy what they see inside the video. And of course, that makes the experience much more seamless, so it's better for the overall KPIs. Again, as well, what we're seeing as being a really, really important factor for success with live shopping is engagement features, gamification. Of course, gamification will look very different in China from what it can look like here for the Western consumer, and that's expected. People here kind of want a bit more of a community focus, a bit more personalization, maybe a bit more of a luxury spin to things like that. But we're loving a live chat where you can actually talk to the brand founder personally. When in the world do you ever have that access? Also giveaways, polls, so many things that can allow you as a brand owner to really understand your customer exactly in that moment. It's a game changer for brands. And one thing as well, as we even go into the women's wellness space, even beyond topical skincare and makeup, there's a lot of really amazing things that you can do by leveraging the power of your community, by targeting micro moments, all of this. A women's health brand, Enfamil, recently launched in the UK as the very first women's brand to do so in the West. And it was very incredible. You're able to see again the pairing of a key influencer. We're noticing this is a very, very important combination, and someone internally to the brand called the key opinion seller. And this is someone that knows the products, knows the ingredients, knows the efficacy, and is able to close the deal. So it's a really, really cool combination. I'm going to play this video so you see a little bit about what the experience looks like, but it's really, really neat here. So you have an influencer on the left. This can work in makeup, skincare, all of this, talking about the products, explaining the use case, talking about how her family loves it and uses it at home. And then you have an internal key opinion seller who's the one providing the data, establishing that trust with your consumer, and kind of really being there to kind of close the loop. This is a formula that we've seen work very well in China and very well in the West. And it's something that brands can really use because you're leveraging your retail staff and the influencer community for a new and fresh format that builds community. The last thing that I would love to share is that what we're seeing for the future of live shopping is not only making big splashy launch events, but establishing unique, smaller, micro-targeted groups with your community where you can gather insights, you can learn more about your community, and you can have smaller, maybe 1 to few, maybe an 8-person private live shopping event where you're able to maybe talk about a new product launch, educate an influencer, or really just kind of make a community amongst your smaller geographics. So that's what we're seeing in the world of live shopping. And Samantha, I will let you take it away.
Thank you very much, Madison. Good morning or good afternoon to everyone. Very happy to be with you today to talk about Livescale. I think that when we first met with Livescale and the team back in 2019 during L'Oréal Open Innovation Program, we immediately knew that it was a gem. There is a perfect match, I would say, between live shopping and beauty. It's entertaining, it's interactive, it's real, it's live, and it's shoppable. And very early on, we wanted to test it with one of our makeup brands, Urban Decay. And I think that the first show that was ever hosted at L'Oréal in Canada outside of Asia was in September of 2019. I also think that Livescale is one of the fastest companies that managed at L'Oréal to start with the POC, proof of concept, and then move to a global agreement. And now Livescale is also used in the US and also in our Western European countries. So I think that so far we've run hundreds of beauty events from skincare to makeup. We also tried fragrance, believe it or not, and I'm super excited because today we're going to launch our first hair care event with our premium hair care brand Kerastase. So I encourage you to go to the kerastase.ca website. It starts at 8 p.m. and it's going to be amazing. Thank you, Madison, for the slide on the results. We're already seeing great engagement for sure from our audience, and I think it's a new way. It's a new way of reinventing the way that we shop online for beauty. So we see great tractions, great engagement from the audience in terms of conversion rate, in terms of add to cart. It's super interactive. It has to do also with the host. And I think that it's a great way for us to also recruit new consumers to discover our brands in a time where it's less and less easy, I would say, to go to the store. If you want to go to the next slide, I think what's also very unique to Canada is that we've managed to create events in 3 languages, so in English, in French, and also in Mandarin. And this one that I wanted to feature, which is very dear to my heart, is a Lancôme event that we had last year for Singles Day, hosted with a Mandarin-speaking host. And it was a 3-hour marathon, believe it or not, with a very high conversion rate, as you can see, very engaged community, lots of questions and polls and interaction. For sure, there was an exclusive kit, and I think that one also, advice that I would give to the audience is make sure that you have the right inventory. Be careful, the sky is the limit. So we need to make sure that we're providing a seamless but also a great shopping experience for our consumer. If you want to move to the next slide, this is, I think, some best practices and also learnings now that we've had the hundreds, event that we hosted with Livescale is really about the audience first. I think the community, finding the right speaker, ambassador for your brand, whether it's an influencer, whether it's a skin expert or a brand ambassador, making sure that we're also using the interactivity feature of Livescale. So it's not easy because you have to, talk, but also acknowledge the questions, answer the questions to the audience. We can use some, live quizzes and polls also to interact and to create excitement. For sure, I think that all of the traffic generation is absolutely key. And we have a great example with one of our key Lancôme ambassador, Chiara Ferragni, with 20 million followers on Instagram, that did an amazing event also last year when she launched a limited edition. And finally, the product itself. I think it's super important that we also find a great exclusivity that can create excitement and a surprise and delight for the audience. If you want to move to the next slide, so moving forward, I think that it was a great journey with Livescale, and it's true that we learn a lot, on both sides. We created double screen, multi product basket, multi-country also events with our friends in the US. For sure, the next step for us is to have a multi-brand event, and the reason why we're saying that is because we know that the consumer is not mono-brand. She wants to be able to buy fragrance and also a total makeup look, but with also the right skincare and beauty regimen. And I think that this is really something that we look forward to. So that's it for me. Thank you very much. And I think Kyla is our next guest.
Thank you, Samantha, and thank you everyone for having me. It's really nice to be here today to speak with you and to hear everyone speak. So first, I thought it would be best to kind of give you an overview of Dermalogica itself and where we started and also how we got to where we are today. And also because before there was Dermalogica, there was the International Dermal Institute, which a lot of people don't know about, and that was founded by Jane Werwind in 1983. You can go to the next slide, Madison. And so she really had a mission to provide skill-based training to skin therapists worldwide. And this really elevated the importance of healthy skin over beauty. And so from there, she created Dermalogica in 1986, which then focused on really that minimalist approach and omitted artificial fragrances, colors, and getting rid of common skin irritants. And so due to that, Dermalogica quickly became the industry's kind of go-to brand for professional grade results. And today, Dermalogica is one of the #1 brands used by professional skin therapists worldwide. So for the past 30 years, Dermalogica's mission has remained the same, and that we wanted to be true to that in 2020. So we did lead the professional industry with enhanced safety protocols given the climate. And we also launched innovative new products while educating more consumers than we ever had before, obviously going digital. And then in 2021, we remained focused on helping people achieve, again, their healthiest skin. And we did this because we are an expertise brand for products and skin treatments rooted in education. So you can go to the next slide. So just like all of you, we were thrown probably the biggest curveball of our careers and forced to figure out how we can educate and engage our consumers without the opportunity to interact with them at skin centers or in-person events or in stores. So customer habits were obviously forced to change, and it only made sense for us to look and find new innovative ways to interact with them. And so for us, we started doing that by running online masterclasses. Kind of in the back of 2020, we were hosting about 1 to 2 online masterclasses a month. And these were primarily promoted through our newsletter and our social channels, but we had different topic focuses, and we would run these with our educators through Zoom, similar to this. So in terms of the content, we were really happy with it, and it seems like people were very engaged. They were enjoying what they were learning about, but we were just not seeing the conversion from them that we wanted, and we also weren't reaching as many new consumers as we wanted to. So because of this, we looked at other options such as live shopping, and ultimately the best platform to do this was Livescale. You can go to the next slide. So we are fairly new to our Livescale journey, but I thought it would be interesting to share how much more successful we've been versus the regular masterclasses we were running. So compared to our first live shopping event alone, we saw more unique viewers in 1 hour than we did the total number of participants during 9 masterclasses that we ran. So that was a huge increase in that hour alone. And we actually saw 9 times more viewers than our average masterclass participation in general, and we also saw 7 times our average sales. So for those, we were primarily offering promo codes versus creating product bundles like you do with live shopping, but we still saw 7 times the number of orders than actual promo code redemptions. So when we look at then how we've netted out over the 4 live shopping events that we've done, we've really been able to see an overall average of 23% new users videos and an average of over 7% conversion. So our goal really was to reach new customers in a new and engaging way. And so it really is proving to be successful there. You can go to the next slide. So obviously we're very much in the testing phase, and we'll continue to test and learn as we go. But we can see that there is obviously a lot of opportunity for growth, and it's just we're really at the beginning of what we're capable of doing. So in terms of what we'll continue looking at in different elements, we'll test even our creative and seeing what works best, how we're actually promoting the event. So some of them we've done digital advertising for, some we've only advertised on social media or through our eBlast promotion. We'll also work with our educators to see what works best for the events themselves in terms of topics and what the audience wants to see more of. And then we also want to see how we can run these events. So whether that's through influencer integration and seeing how consumers actually interact with having an influencer on, but obviously making sure that the right topics for our audience, and then testing the promotional aspect there. We are actually working with a professional makeup artist and YouTube content creator for our next live shopping event this month. So it really will be interesting to see how our consumers respond to them. And then we also have seen some success with sharing before and afters. These are clinical trials that are extremely valuable, and there's something that we'll continue to utilize with live shopping, especially when it comes to new products. And then we're also going to continue testing what our product offering is and what the consumers respond best to. So we already know that product launches for us have been extremely successful, but in terms of how we're putting bundles together, what kind of GWPs we're going to offer or include, those are kind of different options that we'll look at. And then it's been definitely very beneficial using Livescale as a launch tool for us. So really getting the messaging across for our new product and being able to share all of the ingredients and the education behind the new product, and then giving them that first opportunity to shop it. And we might even look at opening up future launches so that the live shopping audience actually gets to shop first. And that gives them more of that exclusivity, which we have been finding works extremely well with Livescale. So in terms of kind of everything we've looked at, what we've seen some successes in, and what we're testing in the future, it's really going to be interesting to see our growth and kind of what we'll be able to do next. But I've really enjoyed seeing what the other brands are doing as well, and I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot from you too. But thank you so much for listening to me, and Bill, I'll let you take it on next.
Terrific. Thank you very much, Kyla. And I should start by mentioning to Samantha, the first Livescale I ever experienced was actually an Urban Decay Livescale, and knew right away that it was a pretty cool technology that we wanted to understand a little bit better. But I think to understand why we are so impressed with Livescale, it helps to understand a little bit more about us. We could not be more different than L'Oreal. We are a small Canadian startup, but we have very big aspirations, which we're trying to achieve with relatively modest resources. Because we're new, we're still building awareness. A lot of people don't even know who Consonant Skincare is. We're still trying to teach customers about the features and benefits of our products. And of course, we're trying to make sales. So we're looking for solutions that really can serve multiple objectives. Madison, we can go to the first slide. I think this is definitely shifting, but in general, speaking to more mature beauty customers, the category is driven by, or has been driven by, cosmetic benefits. So customers looking to diminish the look of fine lines, reduce the look of pores, firm and tighten their skin. But we don't make those kinds of promise. Rather, we promise to help customers to discover their best skin. And we make this promise because we think it's a promise we can actually keep. And we can go to the next slide now, Madison. There are two sides to this proposition, though. One is the skin side, so that's the stuff that's in the bottle that we're selling, and the other is the care side. So those are the holistic practices, typically the wellness practices we pair with our skincare practice, our skincare products, to amplify their benefits. And that's how we help you achieve your best skin. Madison, we can go to the next slide. By guiding each person to the clinically proven skincare products and wellness solutions they can trust are right for them. But as a small startup, we think we have to do better than any of our competitors on both sides of that equation. On the skin side, we have 100% natural, ultra clean, clinically proven, high performance skincare products, which seems like a winning combination, but the truth is nowadays that's not differentiating. And if you take a look at most of the skincare brands that are being launched today, they would probably all say they're ultra clean, high performance, and probably even clinically proven. So you have to have something else. So that's why we lean into our care credentials. And we can go to the next slide now. When it comes to care, it seems like that may not necessarily be differentiating either these days, especially in the context of wellness, because you do hear a lot of brands talking about wellness. But for most of those brands, in our experience, that wellness is typically around mental health. But the fact is, there are actually 7 dimensions of wellness, and every one of those dimensions can affect your skin. So for sure, if you're stressed, that's going to show on your skin. But if you're not moving your body, if you're not eating properly, if you're not feeding your spiritual health, that can all show on your skin as well. And it helps when we can educate customers to understand that and deliver those plus care or the wellness side of that proposition to them. And if we go to the next slide, you'll see what our greatest challenge has been over the last year. The channel in which we love building community and educating our bricks and mortar, or we call them our discovery labs, disappeared last year. That 8% revenue we achieved last year was from January to March. So essentially our stores closed in the middle of March last year and have been closed ever since. And of course, the stores of the other retailers we work with have been closed as well. So it has made education really difficult. And we can go to the next slide now. Which is where Livescale comes in, because it's allowing us not only to build community, and I mentioned that bricks and mortar is our favorite channel for building community because it's not the only channel in which we build community. In fact, we found some clever ways to build our community in every channel in which we sell. But what's really important to us, and I think this is the greatest challenge that all brands are facing today, and that is building an intimate community and scaling that intimate community. So we were able to achieve that intimacy in our stores, but we, of course, have a harder time achieving that just through digital transactions or through transactions with other retailers. And actually, Madison, we can go through to a couple slides. Let's go to the next one as well, because this shows, and I'll apologize to our VP of Marketing in advance for this screen cap, but this is a screen cap from a holiday Livescale that we did. And on the right, that's our Vice President of Marketing in her living room in front of her fireplace with her mother. And I would argue it doesn't get any more intimate than that. And in addition to being able to talk about skincare for young skin, skincare for mature skin, Christina and her mom were also able to talk about all the wellness practices that they bring to bear so that they can achieve their best skin. And you can see just from the comment that we've put up here on the slide, I joined late, lots of great info. People want to be able to view this after. We definitely know we connect with our customers through Livescale. And in addition to the general benefits of, being able to transact on our own site, so we maintain and we own the data. It's a platform to allow us to test new products, new ideas, new bundles, new prices. It generates a higher margin for us than other channels, which of course, as a small startup, we appreciate as well. But quantitatively, it also delivers too. We're fortunate, we actually have a fairly high average basket, but our Livescale average basket is almost 10% higher than our standard e-com basket. Our transactions are from about 40% new customers, and our conversion rate is about 3 times the conversion rate we get on our website. So we're definitely believers in Livescale. It brings sales for us, but it's really helping us on the soft side of our business, on that community building. And again, I think what's really unique and differentiating for us is the ability to build a very intimate community and to scale it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for those presentations. They were very interesting. I just have a few questions for you. We heard earlier in the week about, I mean, live streaming has been a big topic this week, but building the audience there can be difficult. And I've certainly heard from brands saying that, you know, live streaming, it requires so much investment in terms of creating that audience, and the return on investment might not necessarily be there. I was just wondering what your views would be on that in terms of how to build an audience and how to get a return on investment on that. Maybe Madison, if you want to attack that first, and Samantha, it'd be good to have your views as well on that after.
Totally. I think when you, well, I mean, the great thing is the live streaming and the live shopping world is expanding a lot, which means as a brand, you have so many choices about the kinds of tools and the kinds of approaches that you really want to make. There are definitely that sort of an issue when it comes to live shopping marketplaces. So those newer brands that, you know, have to invest in another platform that will bring their own traffic, that's definitely a big one because they're all very new. But one thing that I can speak to and that we really try super hard to do at Livescale is to give brands every single tool and opportunity possible to share the live shopping events that they want to create wherever their audience is, whether that be with Chiara Ferragni, where we had, you know, 60,000 viewers and things like that. Or maybe it's a small live shopping event where you only want 10 or 15 or 30 viewers. And so it's really in control of the brands in that case. And the really great thing about, you know, Livescale I can speak to, of course, is when you create a live shopping event, you actually create a direct web URL. So you're able to share that in paid marketing, on your newsletter, Facebook groups, SMS, WhatsApp, all of that, even in a swipe up link on Instagram where you stay in Instagram. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And I think when we test and learn, we can really figure out, you know, how the audience can work, and also too, the promotion strategy is a big one. So why are people going to tune in to the event when they could buy that product on their website? So it's an interesting and new space, but for sure it's a challenge for brands to kind of grasp their audience in this new way.
What do you think about that, Samantha? Do you agree with that? That
Yeah,
it's challenging?
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that the recipe for success has many ingredients. Traffic is a key one. And I think that we have two extreme examples. I think there is the Chiara Ferragni, and thanks to her influence and her audience, we were able to drive a lot of traffic from her community. But then on the other side, the Lancôme example that I presented to you early on showed that it was a highly targeted, quite niche, you know, community, really talking about a very specific product. So I think that it's also about making sure that you have the right audience for the right product. The host is a key component for sure, because I think that we can also make sure that we can engage with her community and the power of the brands. But there are all other ingredients that, you know, will make a successful live show. And I think that all of the speakers had some great examples too.
Okay. Also, you have to give consumers a reason to show up, I would imagine. And there have been, you know, certain brands that have said, well, we need to do discounts. It needs to be promotional. They need to feel like they're getting something, probably something in terms of price. Kyla, I'm going to go to you first for that. What do you think about that?
So we've definitely been finding that it is best if you can do something that is exclusive. So they're not going to be able to be driven to our website afterwards and purchase the exact same thing that they've seen on this live shopping event an hour or 2 hours later. And that's really been, over the course of the few that we've done, we've been seeing more people join on because they're realizing that this is an opportunity and exclusive only for the hour that they're shopping. And that's also something that we've been communicating throughout the event. We are still testing in terms of discount, or if it's a new product, not necessarily wanting to discount that, but how do we offer maybe some of our hero products in a smaller size that will go with the new product that we're offering? Or is there a GWP or something that we can tack on to that bundle so that we're not necessarily discounting just the whole product on itself, but we're giving them those add-on features that, again, they're not getting if they are just driven to our website in any other circumstance. So really driving home the exclusivity and the opportunity to only get this for this 1 hour has kind of what's worked well for us.
Sorry, Bill, would you agree with that? Is that something that you're finding too, or do you think that there is the discount angle works as well, and that's a good reason for consumers to show up?
Well, we know discounting always works and always motivates sales, but we never like to exclusively discount our products. So for sure, as the other panelists mentioned, we have offers when we're doing a live scale, and we make them exclusive and we make them limited time. But they don't always have to be price offers. Sometimes they can be bundles of products with a gift with purchase, or it can be a brand new product. And it can be a brand new product that we're featuring in a very limited edition. So your motivation to purchase is scarcity as opposed to strictly discounting. So, you know, it really is the same as we approach our business overall. We recognize there are times that we have to do discounting because that moves products, but we certainly don't want to over discount our products. And we have found with Livescale, we absolutely don't have to.
Okay. I just want to go to a question from the audience there. The question is, it seems that the excitement of users with live streaming is linked to the brand or influencers that are already known and creating a buzz. How do you see more discreet brands using these live streams? It seems that the buzz around the brand is a prerequisite to leverage the live stream. Perhaps, Bill, that would be a good one for you to answer first.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely would have much lower awareness than some of my fellow panelists here. So we're living that experience. And actually, I think this relates to the first question. Also, you know, how do we get people to our live scale? And we do have a relatively small list. And when I say relatively small, you know, compared to Dermalogica and L'Oreal for sure. But we work the heck out of that list to get customers to our site. And the other thing is, again, it's, you know, not dissimilar to the other ways we're trying to grow our business. We look for powerful partnerships. So we take a look at influencers and affiliates that make sense for us, who can bring their following along with us. And, you know, we found some very symbiotic relationships with other influencers and affiliates that have allowed us to do that pretty successfully. So while we're not getting the scale that a L'Oreal would get, for sure, we're getting a larger scale than we normally would if we were only doing it on our own.
Okay. Madison, you mentioned there about key opinion sellers, so company employees. How important do you think that is? And do you think that becoming more, do you see that becoming more of a trend there? Because we are seeing it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's incredible. We've actually had the ability to sort of compare similar events with similar product lineups and similar promotion strategies, just sort of the KPIs post-event. If you just had an influencer host and if you had, you know, an internal salesperson host, and the conversion rate is almost every single time, I would dare to say, higher with someone that the customer can trust, the customer understands that they know about the ingredients. If you ask about, you know, how stable is this vitamin C? The customer will ask questions like that at this point. And so it's really amazing to see brands understand that and be able to provide really, really expert advice. And it just creates that trust, which I think has been maybe been lacking just overall in the global community over the past year and a half. So it's really powerful that way. One way that we do see a lot of brands kind of tackle both, as Bill mentioned, it's really important to have that traffic and those eyeballs. So we've seen a lot of brands have a dual host system. So as Samantha mentioned, it's kind of a best of both worlds where you'll have the influencer there to be fun and cool and like bring her eyeballs, bring their traffic. But then you have the key opinion seller there having fun. You know, maybe they have experience with a shopping channel or a streaming network like that in the past as well, which we see quite a bit with Lancôme, for example. And they're there to close the deal. They're there to talk about the products, to say about the ingredients, and to just get people to buy. And customers really like that because you have the authenticity of the influencer intact, but you also have the expertise of the brand also intact. So it's a really nice combo for both.
Okay, we have another question from the audience. Maybe Samantha, you could answer this for us. What do you see as the main differences in the live stream approach in different regions? For example, Europe versus the Americas versus Asia Pacific?
think that Madison clearly presented that in her presentation. It's true that when you're in Asia, in China, live streaming is part of your day-to-day life, and you have live streaming events every single day, and key opinion leaders, key opinion setters that are very well known. It's true that it's Western Europe or even in America's countries, it's still at its infancy. So we still have to educate consumers to this new form of discovering about a new brand, a new product. I think we should not undermine also the power of educating. It's a new way, the way we see it at L'Oréal, it's a new way to educate our consumers. We digitize the product education. We democratize also the expert advice. You were very right, Madison. Consumers are asking now very interesting questions, very targeted questions about certain ingredients. And I think that it's very important to be able to provide also this expertise, this education differently with the comfort of your home, being also focused on this very timely event, and also be able to buy the product directly from your screen.
Can you see it really taking off in Western markets in the way it has done in Asia?
I think that it's going to take some time. I think that the sky is the limit, but for sure, the way that we should look at it is, again, we're always trying to find the right way to reinvent the shopping experience. We manage also to target a new generation, a younger population that sometimes we have a hard time to expose to our brands, that don't necessarily go to the stores anymore, and have other ways of getting referrals from. And I think that the peer-to-peer is super important. This influence factor is super important. This works in Europe. It works in the North America. So this is where we need to really leverage the Livescale streaming platform to maximize the influence.
Okay. Another question from the audience, Kyla, maybe I'll go to you for this one. How do you moderate the questions from shoppers?
So at Dermalogica, we're obviously very lucky that we have a large team of educators and professional skin therapists. So we have been finding that obviously it's difficult when you have an educator and perhaps somebody else on screen, but it's extremely beneficial if you have actually an educator on the back end answering those specific questions. We have been finding with Livescale that there are a ton of questions. It's a very engaged audience, which is amazing, but you definitely want to have and give them the time that they're needing so that it's not pulling away from the host. Of course, the host usually towards the end or throughout, they're answering questions here and there, but we have found that just the amount of questions there actually are and the specific skincare needs that people are asking, it's more beneficial to have somebody actually given to those questions as well.
Okay. Another question we have here is how are influencers most commonly compensated? Who wants to take that one? Maybe Samantha?
Sure. So first,
sorry, I'll just finish. She asks, is it usually based on affiliate commission, a flat fee, or other?
Okay. So before I think talking business, we need to make sure that we find the right influencer. It's all about, I think we talked about staying truth and authenticity. We need to make sure that the influencer is loving the brand and is already talking about the brand. So I think that's absolutely key because, consumers feel it very, very quickly. And then we have different types of, I would say, business relationships. So on commission-based, for instance, similar to an affiliate where we need to close the deal and then the influencer is being commissioned by the number of transactions that she's able to generate. So usually that's the type of a business model that we put in place also with the influencers, making sure that we award her time, her energy, her community, and also the transactions for sure.
Okay. Madison, at the beginning you mentioned QVC, live streaming. It's a modern version of QVC. Would you agree, or do you see any differences there?
A really great question. We had one of our engineers actually in a team meeting a few months ago say that Livescale was like QVC for the TikTok generation. And I was like, oh, like that's very cool. However, we do notice that our most influential customer is still a woman aged 35 to 65. So it's a really interesting time simply because they'll have disposable income and they know that psychology of the see now buy now. So of course I expect that to shift as things kind of broaden and as we go out of beauty and into other industries as well, or different industries within beauty. But it's super, super interesting. One thing I noticed as well is that QVC is sort of a marketplace when we look to that. So there are other live streaming platforms where the customer would have to download an app and join in and kind of access sales as they come, part of that ecosystem. It's really important to remember that Livescale is a white label solution, and we empower brands to own their own live shopping channels. So this is fully not necessarily replacing even QVC or any other element of retail, but it's a new sales stream where brands are able to kind of bridge the gap between digital and physical retail and experiences and things like that. So QVC is very much that ecosystem that they've created. They're a publicly known brand. We are a software company providing the brands with the tools to have their own, maybe their own QVC on their own platforms in a sense as well.
Okay.
I'd love to add something to that if I could. We do shopping channels to sell our products. And I think Livescale is very different. I see shopping channels as a medium that talks at you and pitches to you. And in fact, the very first Livescale I did. And, I brought my television shopping approach to Livescale, and it was not the right way to do it. I was standing there pitching and talking and trying to promote and get you to buy. But then we had Christina, our VP marketing, do it, and it was very different. She had a conversation with the people that were following along. And as we've been talking about, the people that were following along were able to ask some questions and we were able to answer them in real time. So there was a real connection. So I just encourage anybody who's listening to this that might be thinking about this type of live shopping, don't be discouraged thinking it's the old-fashioned pitch at you QVC shopping channel kind of shopping. I feel like it's a very different experience for customers.
It's a lot more interactive, basically.
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Bill, I would just add there as well, even we've been finding at Dermalogica that when we tested kind of going the QVC route, where we really talked about the bundles more and talked about the price and really honed in on that, it was almost way too much. So we found that we weren't actually, although when you speak to the bundle itself every so often, you are seeing the increase in sales, but when you're overdoing it, which I find sometimes is similar to the QVC model, that becomes then too much for Livescale.
I would agree. And we were talking about discounting, and the fact is that is what shopping channels are all about, is discounting.
Right. Okay. So it's and live streaming, you're saying, is different. It's about this exclusivity. It's about limited products, drops, that type of thing.
Yeah, I think you can really build your brand. You can really build connections with customers. You can educate. You can have a conversation. It's a real connection.
Okay. All right, that's great. Thank you very much, all of you, for your time and for your insights. It was a great conversation, and thanks to all of you, Madison, Samantha, Kyla, and Bill.
Thank you.
So that is the final session here today at the Knowledge Hub. We hope you've enjoyed this week of keynotes, panel discussions on how digital and tech are impacting beauty. We certainly feel there was a lot of interesting content and unique perspectives on how digital beauty and e-commerce will look in the future, and we hope that you can apply this to your business. A big thank you to all of our speakers for taking part and who've made this conference lineup so rich. Thank you also to our Platinum event and Knowledge Hub sponsor Lux Asia and our Knowledge Hub sponsor iClick, and to all our exhibiting partners whose support has been instrumental in helping us create this unique event. Special thanks also to our mainstream media partner, Marie Claire, and to our industry association partners, CW, the Fragrance Foundation, Cosmetic Valley, and the Korean Beauty Association, IBETA. A big thank you also to the BW Confidential and the Moody Davert Report teams who have worked so hard on this new event, and also to our creative virtual stand and experience partner, Filter Chingwa. This is the last day of the Knowledge Hub, but the Exhibition Hub is open all day Friday, so do stop by and see all of the interesting beauty tech solutions there on show. And the whole event platform will remain live for another 30 days, meaning you can watch any replay of any conference session that you may have missed and visit stands and pick up any documents or interesting information that may be out there. So thanks again to everyone for tuning in, and don't hesitate to give us your feedback on the event. And that's it from me. Thank you and good evening.